Romans chapter 3 is only a continuation of chapter 2. There never should have been a chapter break here, as it completely disrupts the flow of Paul's thought pattern. Paul's opening words of chapter 3 are, "Then what advantage has the Jew?" Now, this question is what sets the stage for Paul to make the argument that Israel was, is, and shall remain God's set-apart people despite what he may have said in chapter 2. So whatever commonality Jews and Gentiles may share does not diminish Israel's special standing before the Lord. On the other hand, Jehovah's set-apart people, having received and ratified covenants from God that makes them set apart, this does not so totally separate them from the rest of humanity that they are considered exempt from the shared fate of the human race. They are still liable to sin and therefore to experience God's wrath. Throughout this chapter, we see Paul struggling, as we do, to define the place of the law, meaning the law of Moses, within the lives of believers, Jew and Gentile. But the real reason for this struggle is not so much that the law's place in the lives of worshipers of the God of Israel has changed due to Christ's advent, because it hasn't. The reason for the struggle is because the place and purpose of the law within Second Temple Judaism had become corrupted, and it was now not being utilized as God had intended. Yeshua's Sermon on the Mount was largely about recovering the true purpose and meaning of the law of Moses. Yeshua was not trying to reform or to recast the law itself. In fact, he stated straight away that not the tiniest speck of the law would change. Till when? Heaven and earth passed away. Rather, he was trying to reform the religion of the Jews, Judaism, that was misusing and misunderstanding the law. In many ways, that's what Paul is trying to do. He is trying to put the law into proper perspective as it was always intended, because it had become diluted and subverted and kind of twisted over the centuries since the Babylonian exile, and this was as a result of man-made rules and regulations. Tradition, halakha, had crept in at an ever-increasing rate until finally we hear Yeshua say in Matthew 15, 7 through 9, "You hypocrites, Isaiah was right when he prophesied about you. These people honor me with their lips, but their hearts are far away from me. Their worship of me is useless because they teach man-made rules as if they were doctrines." So up to now, in the book of Romans, we find Paul teaching some basic God principles that the believing Jews of Rome especially should have already known.